Welcome to this interfaith gathering here at the Capitol in Harrisburg on Choices and Voices for Peace. I am Bishop Christopher deForest, and I serve as the elected spiritual and administrative leader of the Northeastern Pennsylvania Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, or ELCA. I am just one of the bishops represented here in the 7 ELCA synods here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which represents hundreds of thousands of Lutherans and thousands of congregations across this great state. And I am honored and humbled to stand here with leaders of many different faiths and traditions. Some of us you will hear from today, representing more than 3 million Pennsylvanians. Wow. So how did this all get started? Well, several months ago, my colleague bishops here in Pennsylvania, we were sharing concerns that we had about political violence and violence in general across our culture. And we saw both, very strongly felt the need for both and the opportunity for people of faith to come together and to give voice to the desire of so many of our neighbors, the yearning for less division and more peace. And although we Lutheran bishops got the ball rolling, the following statement belongs to all who have signed and all who will sign. More about that in a moment. We are grateful to the tremendous response of so many who have made a choice to stand together and add their voice. Our statement is entitled Choices and Voices for Peace, and it reads as follows. 2 months ago today, September 5th, 2024, 2 months from today, today is September 5th, 2024, Pennsylvanians will head to the polls, and the choices we make there will be a statement about the way we want to live together, here and now, and the kind of tomorrow we want to leave for our children. We gather here as leaders of many faiths from communities all across the Commonwealth, not to tell anyone how to vote on November 5th, Election Day, but to remind us all of the transformative power in the daily choice to treat one another with kindness and human dignity. Several weeks ago, our state was the site of a tragic shooting at a presidential campaign rally. We do not know the motive, but we do know that it was a violent example of our country's political unrest. Violence is a language of despair. We stand together today because we want to speak in the language of hope. We acknowledge that we as people of various religions and worldviews are not immune to division. We confess our histories with political and societal violence, acts of omission, commission, compliance, and collaboration, and we struggle still. Yet, today, we commit ourselves to dialogue over division, to speak with a hope that is faithful to our traditions, recognizing that peace is not passive, but an active pursuit, one that requires courage. Today, we call on all civic leaders to exercise responsibility in their rhetoric. We reject all calls for violence, to forge a brighter vision together than fanning flames of fear. Today, we call on followers of faith traditions to join us in seeking understanding over assumption, to reach out to those with whom we disagree, to sit down together, to listen with an open heart and mind, to prioritize compassion over vindication, and knowing the very real and sometimes deadly harm that comes from spreading falsehoods, to seek to be trustworthy in all we share. Today, we encourage our fellow Pennsylvanians, to choose hope over hate, to build bridges of understanding that reach toward reconciliation, to work together to create communities of peace where all can thrive. We come from different places and different traditions, but we stand together in hope for the possibility of tomorrows in which we will work together for the common good, because today we stand and we have stood together and will go on standing together on the common ground of peace. This is the joint statement that we have issued. It has been signed on so far by, and it's a running count, but 330-ish numbers so far. And we are inviting more to sign on. I'll say a bit more about that in a few minutes. But I also want to acknowledge that this moment, this image of faith standing together, speaking and moving in one direction, is not the image that many have of religion today. In fact, it seems to many that we are focused more on most of the time, or more often on the time, of the things that divide us. We are here today not just to counter that impression, but to declare a new day and a better way, centered in the call found in all of our faith traditions to love God and to love neighbor as ourselves. Love, more than a word or a feeling, but an active, positive regard for one another. That, as Martin Luther, from my tradition, more than 500 years ago, says that it means the following: that we neither endanger nor harm the lives of our neighbors, but instead help and support them in all life's needs. I would like now to invite the voices of some of my dear neighbors, friends, and faith leaders, each of whom will introduce themselves. And so it's my honor first to invite forward now the Reverend Larry Pickens, Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Council of Churches. Dr. Pickens.
I've got your back, Bishop. I want to express my appreciation as I represent the Pennsylvania Council of Churches for this opportunity to stand with siblings of the faith community as we enter into the marketplace of discourse. We have come here today to register our no to violence and hate. Aesop tells the story of the lion and the boar. On a summer day when the great heat induced a general thirst among the beasts, a lion and a boar came at the same moment to a small well in order to drink. They fiercely disputed which of them should drink first, and were soon engaged in mortal combat. When they stopped suddenly to catch their breath for a fiercer renewal of the fight, they saw some vultures waiting in the distance to feast on the one that should fall first. They at once made up from their quarrel, saying, "It is better for us to make friends than to become the food of crows and vultures." Dr. King once said that we will either hang together as siblings or we will perish separately as fools. During this season of political decision-making, our faith communities make an appeal for peace and unity. The Pennsylvania Conference of Churches, which I represent, serves as a cohort that calls for a political process that is peaceful, life-affirming, and committed to the formation of the beloved community, where we welcome each other and value our collective gifts. In life, we attract what we focus on. We encourage all of us to focus on our better angels. Let us focus on what we have in common. Unity is the bond of hope that we have for this nation. We call all people to unity of servanthood, compassion, and nation building. Reconciliation and hope take place through an attitude of humility. Nelson Mandela once told the story of his jailer, Crystal Brand, who was responsible for guarding him at Robben Island and then at Paulsmoor Prison. Speaking about the relationship which developed between the two men, Mandela said, "It reinforced my belief in the essential humanity of even those who had kept me behind bars." Today I'm asking everyone here and in our community to find humanity in the person with whom you disagree. Today I'm asking everyone to find love in their heart for another human being, even if they belong to another party. Today I'm asking everyone to reach out to an immigrant with a hand of welcome. Today I'm asking everyone to be a peacemaker as we eradicate hatred and indifference. Let us follow the mandate of Hebrews 12, verses 14 and 15. Pursue peace with all persons, and the sanctification without which no one will see the Lord. See to it that no one comes short of the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springing up causes trouble. May that serve as a foundation for our relationships today and tomorrow.
I want to also express my gratitude for being invited here to share a word of peace as well from the Jewish community. My name is Rabbi Ariana Capptauber. I'm the rabbi at Bethel Temple in Harrisburg, here where we are now. Again, I'm grateful to be here today. Every day in our morning prayers, Jewish people say, "May it be your will, Adonai our God and God of our ancestors, to grant us a portion in your Torah. May we be disciples of Aaron the priest, Ohev Shalom Verodef Shalom, loving peace and pursuing peace, loving our fellow creatures and drawing them near to Torah." Today, we stand as an interfaith community to say that we hope all people will aspire to be like the biblical high priest Aaron, loving peace and pursuing peace, loving our fellow creatures, and remaining faithful to the voice of God, however it appears in our lives. In recent years, we have witnessed great political turmoil within our borders, both in the United States and here in Pennsylvania. Divisive political rhetoric has polarized our nation, causing neighbor to lift up sword and gun and fist against neighbor. Today, we call on our neighbors here in the city of Harrisburg, in our state of Pennsylvania, and in our country, the United States of America, to put down our swords and guns and fists and lift up our eyes and our hearts to one another. Let us be like Aaron the priest and Moses the prophet and Miriam the prophetess, loving peace and pursuing peace, no matter our differences. Let us aspire to that day when we shall beat our swords into plowshares, when, as the prophet Isaiah said, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, nor neighbor lift up sword against neighbor, when we shall not know war, nor assassination, nor insurrection, nor political violence, nor hate crimes anymore. Then we will walk in the ways of God, and let us say, Amen.
I'm honored to be here today to speak on behalf of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, where the Right Reverend Stanford Wicker serves as our Episcopal leader. I serve as the pastor of Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Pittsburgh, the oldest African American church west of the Alleghenies, started in 1808. In my faith tradition, we believe that every person is created in the image of God, which means each one of us carries a unique reflection of God. This belief calls us to honor and respect the inherent dignity of every individual, regardless of their political views, backgrounds, or belief. The teaching of love, compassion, and justice are central to our faith. We call all to love our neighbor as ourselves, which extends beyond those who share political or social views different than ourselves. True peace, according to our faith, is not merely the absence of conflict, but the presence of justice and mutual respect. It is a peace that embraces diversity as a strength and not as a source of division. When indifference and intolerance dominate the headlines, it becomes even more critical for us to live out these principles. Our faith compels us to stand against the forces that seek to divide us and to work tirelessly for a unity that celebrates our differences rather than ignore them. This unity is not about easing our diverse perspectives, but about finding common ground and respecting each person's inherent worth. In these challenging times, being a bridge builder requires courage and commitment. It demands that we actively listen, learn, and engage with others, even when it's uncomfortable or challenging. By doing so, we contribute to a world where peace and understanding can flourish despite the divisive and narratives we often see on the airwaves. Let us embody the values of our faith by working towards a more inclusive and compassionate society. In standing for peace and unity, not only honor our beliefs, but also pave the way for a more harmonious and just world. Quoting from Dr. Martin Luther King, the ultimate measure of a person is not where they stand in moments of comfort or convenience, but where they stand at a time of challenge and controversy. Quoting Mother Teresa, peace begins with a smile.
What a beautiful and meaningful gathering. Thank God. Hello, my name is Imam Fatih Akdemir, and I'm from Respect Graduate School Masjid in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and I'm representing the Islamic Community. I am extremely humbled and honored to represent the Islamic Community and join you today. If you don't mind, instead of my speech, I want to do a short prayer for peace. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, most gracious, most merciful. O dear God, we kindly ask to have the hearts of servants that we may glorify you. O loving God, let us see one another through eyes enlightened by understanding and compassion. Release us from judgment so we can receive the stories of other people with respect. Open our hearts to the cries of a suffering world and the healing melodies of peace and justice for all creation. Empower us to be instruments of justice, equality, and peace everywhere. Enable us to make this world a peaceful place. O dear loving God, please be with the leaders of all nations. Give them the foresight to act with charity and true concern for the well-being of the people they are meant to serve. Give them the wisdom to invest in long-term solutions that will prevent all forms of injustice, discrimination, violence, and oppression. May they know your peace as they work together to achieve it on earth. Please, O God, look with compassion on the whole human family. Take away the controversial teachings of arrogance, divisions, and hatreds which have badly infected our hearts. Break down the walls that separate us and reunite us in bonds of love. In the Holy Quran, you state that you created us and made us into tribes and nations that we may know each other, not that we may despise each other. So please, O loving God, help us and bless every single person who works for peace. Ameen. Please have a peaceful day, count your blessings, and please do me a favor, okay? Pass this along to remind everyone else how blessed and peaceful we all are in so many ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pickens. Thank you, Dr. Snyder. Thank you, Rabbi Capptauber. And thank you, Imam Akdemir. And that was the perfect connection for us to say that this is the start of something, not the end. We've been saying to each other as we do this lineup here, we got each other's backs, going back and back and back and back and back. But these are also people that are stepping forward now to lead the way and have been leading the way in peace. We hope that this can ripple from here through this disruptive seas that we're in to bring the power of peace out into the world. So this statement is not closed. It is wide open. You may continue to click the and pass around what you have received by email. This will be also available on the ELCA Synod websites, and we are all going to be sharing this across so that we can widen the reach of this statement and allow more people to let it be a launch point for the work that we will do through, yes, this election season and this transition season, but into all the seasons that come. So we invite all people, faith leaders, clergy, lay people, to read and sign on to this statement and to share with us the work that we are doing together and invite each other to join in that work. We are now at the official end of our press conference. I want to thank everyone here who came and represented. I want to thank all of you here who are watching this and are present here today. The speakers and others may remain here to have some conversation with you or with members of the press that are here, but we also want to have an opportunity for people to step down from these steps where they've been standing a while. But let me say in conclusion, in God, we believe peace is possible, and we pledge our choices and voices for the cause of that peace. Thank you.